When night settles like soft ash, your thoughts may still flicker and race, rehearsing tomorrow's storms. Tonight, let's choose a gentler current, with one quiet breath and a single sacred name, Namo Amitabha Buddha. We invite the mind to rest in kindness. No complex rituals, no pressure to be perfect, just breath, sound, and a tender willingness to let go. Imagine a lantern of compassion glowing behind your ribs, warming the places that feel tight or tired. Each repetition is a lullaby, each breath a small boat returning to a safe harbor. If worries rise, greet them like drifting clouds and let the mantra carry them beyond the horizon. Lay down the armor of your day, soften your jaw, loosen your shoulders, and let your heart remember its original calm. Come home gently to the still lake within. This is your bedtime Dharma practice, simple, soothing, and ready, right now, whenever darkness deepens. Before touching the mantra, begin with something humble and human. Make a small sanctuary from the room you already have. Lower any bright lights until the space feels like late sunset, warm and permissive. If it's safe, let a thread of fresh air move across the floor, as if you were inviting a breeze through a quiet cloister. Place your phone face down or in another room. Close the laptop, stack any open books, and clear the bedside table so your attention is not tugged by unfinished conversations with objects. Choose a position that your body recognizes as kind, lying on your back with a thin pillow under the knees, or on your side with a cushion between the legs, or sitting propped up with supportive pillows so the spine can be tall without effort. Let your hands rest where they feel unguarded on the belly, at the heart, or lightly by your sides so nothing has to hold or grip. If you enjoy scent, choose something gentle and clean that won't compete with your breath. You are not performing for anyone. You are preparing a simple welcome for your own tiredness. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and begin by noticing the weight of your body. There is gravity, loyal and patient, saying, "I've got you." Feel the places of contact: the back of the head, the shoulder blades, the ribs, the hips, the calves, the heels, and imagine the mattress or mat receiving each region like a lake receiving a falling leaf. Inhale naturally through the nose and let the belly swell a little. Exhale through the nose and allow the abdomen to soften. For a few cycles, do nothing but witness the tide moving in and out. You are not trying to manufacture relaxation with force. You are inviting the nervous system to remember how to rest. Scan your face. Unknit the brow as if smoothing a sheet. Loosen the tiny muscles around the eyes. Unclench the jaw and let the tongue rest softly on the palate. Release the shoulders downward, toward the bed. Lengthen the exhale by a second, and feel how the chest follows the breath like a bellows settling. If thoughts begin performing their familiar circus, nod to them kindly and let them pass like pedestrians crossing a street while you wait calmly on the curb. Now let the breath become a simple count, in 4-4, out for 6. And after a few minutes, let it return to whatever rhythm feels unforced. Place one hand on your abdomen and one on your heart so you can feel both the rise of life and the beat of life together. A duet that has carried you through every day without complaint. Whisper to yourself, "Tonight I choose gentleness." It is enough. From this softness, introduce the mantra as you would introduce a dear friend into a quiet room. Namo Amitabha Buddha, or Namo Amitabha Chant, or the version that lives in your tradition. Let the syllables be rounded by breath, rather than pressed by effort. On the inhale, silently receive the name. On the exhale, silently offer the name. And if it helps, let the lips move without sound so the body participates. Imagine the phrase as a small boat that arrives at the shore of your chest with each inhalation and departs gently with each exhalation, ferrying worry to the far bank where it dissolves in moonlight. You do not have to believe anything special. All that is asked is your honest presence. As the mantra repeats, imagine a soft lantern of compassion glowing behind the sternum. Not bright or dramatic, simply warm enough to take the edge off the night. With each repetition, let that warmth drift through the shoulders, down the arms, into the palms, so the hands feel a little heavier and safer. Let it move into the ribs and lower back, loosening any places that have been bracing all day. Allow it to pour like warm tea through the hips, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, and into the soles of the feet, which to have carried you faithfully. If you encounter a pocket of tension or a knot of feeling, pause your mental commentary and say inwardly to that place, I see you. On the next exhale, I am here. Return to the mantra, not as a command but as an invitation, and notice how the knot responds when it is not pushed. If memories or planning arise, do not arm wrestle them. Let the mantra stand beside them like a compassionate elder who understands that every visitor is trying, in its clumsy way, to help. The elder bows, and the visitors bow back, and the room stays calm. If it supports you, synchronize the mantra with a simple visual: a lake at night, unmoving except for breath-made ripples, or a lotus opening petal by petal at the pace of your exhale. If you prefer tactile anchors, feel the rosary or mala beads and let one bead equal one mantra. Not counting to achieve a goal, but counting the way a child counts waves, without hurry. From time to time, check your posture kindly. If lying down, allow the chin to tilt slightly so the back of the neck lengthens. If seated, imagine a thread gently lifting the crown of the head while the shoulders slope down like a cloak slipping from a peg. Adjust pillows to remove ambition from the body. A sustainable position is a spiritual kindness. Now, listen to the room. Notice small sounds: the hum of an appliance, a distant vehicle, a night bird, a breath from someone in the next room. Rather than judging, fold them into the practice like instruments joining a very quiet orchestra. The mantra continues beneath the soundscape, steady and patient. Let your attention widen to include not only breath and sound, but also the feeling of the night itself touching your skin. The temperature at the tip of your nose, the toasty or cool patches under the blanket. Each detail is not a distraction, but a doorway to now. If the mind wonders whether you are doing this right, smile inside and answer softly, right is whatever helps me be here. The mantra is not a password to a secret life. It is a cradle for the one you already live. Before moving on, plant a small intention in the hard soil. May this night be kind. May my body and mind be cared for. May whatever needs rest find rest. Do not try to feel noble or spiritual. Let the words be as ordinary and sincere as asking for a glass of water. If you like, imagine placing worries into a simple bowl and setting the bowl just outside the door of your awareness, trusting that they will still be there in the morning if they are truly needed. With your next breath, sense the relief of putting the keys down after a long day. Notice how the body becomes slightly heavier, how the floor or bed seems to rise to meet you. The mantra continues, unhurried. If sleepiness begins to gather, welcome it. If it does not, that is also welcome. This is not a performance review of your rest. It is a reunion with your own tenderness. Keep the room dim, the phone silent, the blanket arranged to remove little frictions that pull you away. When you feel ready, allow the mantra to soften from clear syllables into a hum, then from a hum into the breath itself, until finally it is simply the quiet recognition that you are here, and being here is enough. In this way, without forcing, you have prepared the ground for deep sleep or for deep resting awake, both nourishing, both part of the same meadow of peace. Tonight, let that be sufficient. Begin by letting your awareness settle into the simple fact that you have a body, a lived home that has carried you across the entire day, and offer it the courtesy of being noticed with care. Without rushing, bring attention to the crown of the head as if you were holding a small, warm lamp above it. Notice temperature, the brush of air, the subtle feeling of skin meeting world. Imagine that warmth melting down through the scalp, unclenching tiny muscles that work even when you think you are still. And let the forehead smooth as though a gentle hand were ironing a wrinkled sheet. The eyes can float in their sockets like boats on a calm harbor. Let them rest, heavy and safe, lids soft, gaze turned inward, toward a wide horizon of night. Sense the temples and the hinges of the jaw, those diligent workers of speech and restraint. Allow the teeth to part a whisper, tongue relaxing against the palate, lips meeting lightly so the mouth becomes a quiet cave. Notice how a small, unforced sigh can ripple through the throat and chest, like wind slipping through reeds, and if a yawn wants to arrive, invite it like an old friend. Both sighs and yawns are the body writing permission slips for release. Let this wave continue into the neck, where effort often hides. Imagine the neck lengthening in every direction, front soft, back spacious, sides unpinched. Picture wearing a collar of warm light that loosens without needing your supervision. Slide attention to the shoulders and picture them as two heavy stones you've been unknowingly carrying. Set them down, 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 until they nest on the bed or pillow by their own true weight. If there is a patch of tightness, breathe toward it as though you could inflate a small parachute beneath the muscle, and on the exhale, watch it drift down. Cords slackening. Travel down the upper arms, noticing the quiet hum of circulation like an underground stream, and into the elbows, those resilient hinges, asking them to release the urge to brace. The forearms become rivers emptying into open estuaries of the wrists and hands, and each finger, from thumb to little finger, unwinds its tiny stories of what it touched and held today. If the hands prefer to curl, let them curl. If they prefer to open, let them open. Their wisdom is simple and trustworthy. Sense the palm centers warming, as if holding smooth stones heated by sun, and rest them wherever they feel safest. Return for a moment to the chest, that faithful bellows, and feel it widen gently with each breath. Imagine a lantern glowing behind the sternum, not for display but for comfort, and let its light reach into the back of the heart where old weather sometimes lingers. With each inhale, breathe in a climate of kindness. With each exhale, let the day drain away down invisible channels, leaving the inner air clearer than before. Let attention spread like ink in water across the ribs to the sides and back, where the breath's movement can be felt like slow tides against a shoreline. The back body is often forgotten, yet it loves to be noticed. Slide downward to the diaphragm and solar plexus, tender gatekeepers between thought and sensation. Reassure them that tonight they do not have to police anything. The belly is a tide pool where the moon has a say. Let it rise and fall in its own rhythm. If you feel self-conscious, smile inwardly and remember that this soft movement is the oldest lullaby in the world. If the belly has knots, place a hand there and listen without fixing. as if overhearing a conversation in a language of feeling. Your presence alone unknots more than you think. Continue into the low back, a landscape that may remember chairs and standing, lifting and bending. Picture warm sand poured along the spine, filling the hollows and smoothing the angles. Grains arranging themselves around vertebrae until the whole area feels evenly supported. Let the pelvis tilt to a neutral angle that relieves the back's labor. Sometimes a pillow under the knees or between them is more merciful than heroism. The hips are storerooms of emotion and momentum. Open the doors in your imagination and let stale air drift out, replaced by a breeze that smells like night rain. Travel into the glutes and notice whether they are still on duty. Invite them off the clock, reminding them that posture is handled by gravity now. Flow down into the thighs, where great engines of movement can idle at last. Feel the quadriceps and hamstrings soften as linen loosens in warm water. Knees receive the attention like old companions. Thank them without words and imagine them lightly wrapped in silk that does not bind. The calves and shins, often voiceless, get their turn. Let them release their cautious clutch on readiness. Ankles, those articulate translators between land and body, can now be unburdened, and the feet, remarkable maps of your entire frame, can broaden and rest. Spread your awareness through the soles, as if you were reading Braille written by the bed. From heel to arch to ball to each toe, receive a scatter of microsensictions. Warmth, coolness, nothing at all, and let the toes fan or fold as they wish. At this point, you may notice the whole body feels heavier in a delicious way, like fruit ripening, or lighter, like driftwood that finally stops arguing with the river. Either quality is welcome. If a zone remains tense, do not treat it like a problem to solve. Approach it as you would a child who is shy to leave a party, patient and warm. Place a breath there, count 4 in, 6 out. And on the next cycle, imagine the name of the Buddha resting on that spot like a soft cloth, absorbing extra heat of worry. There is no rush. If memories arrive, treat them as visiting birds. You do not have to cage or chase them. If your mind makes lists, bow to its caretaking intent and set a gentle boundary. Not now, thank you. Some nights the body wants micro-movements, tiny rocking, a slow tilt of the pelvis, a roll of the shoulders, and giving it these small freedoms can unlock more ease than strict stillness. Trust impulses that lead toward comfort, not toward performance. If any posture pinches, adjust until the breath can pass through like a breeze through an open house. Consider a simple, vagus-friendly gesture, lengthen the exhale, or hum faintly on the way out, or imagine the eyes moving slowly side to side under closed lids as if scanning a peaceful horizon. Each is a door to the parasympathetic garden. If safety feels far away, you can weave an inner haven. Picture a temple by a quiet lake, or a small lamplit room where a kind figure sits nearby. This could be a teacher, an ancestor, or a quality like compassion taking form. Their presence is wordless reassurance that nothing needs to be earned in this moment. Lay the mantra beside your body like a cool stream running alongside the path, always available to dip a hand in. Namo Amitabha Buddha on the inhale. Namo Amitabha Buddha on the exhale, barely audible inside. Each repetition polishing the lens of attention. Notice how the body scan and the mantra collaborate. Sensation anchors your awareness to the present shoreline. Mantra invites the wider sea to be friendly. If sleepiness builds, loosen the reins. Allow thoughts to blur as if you were looking at stars through mist, and let the scan become more impressionistic, drifting over landscapes rather than measuring them. If sleep does not come, recognize that rest is already happening. The organism is receiving the signal that it may stand down. That, too, is success. Should you encounter discomfort or pain, widen the field to include everything around the sensation, the skin, the air. The places that feel neutral or even pleasant, so the pain lives in a larger sky and cannot fill it all. Imagine giving the sore area a perimeter of kindness, like a garden fence that keeps it safe without shutting it in. Repeat a quiet promise, I will not abandon you. As the scan completes, hold the whole body in one gentle, panoramic awareness, the way you might take in a landscape from a hilltop at dusk. Feel how the edges of you and the edges of the bed blur a little, two shapes learning the same language of ease. The breath is simpler now, perhaps quieter than thought, a soft tide your mind rides without steering. Let the mantra thin until it rides inside the breath, and then thinner still until the body itself seems to hum a wordless trust. You may silently acknowledge gratitude for this ordinary miracle, lying down and being supported, inhaling and exhaling, attention and kindness meeting. This is not a technique to force a result. It is a relationship renewed. If you like, end with a tiny ritual of completion. Sense the crown of the head, the soles of the feet, the palms of the hands, and the heart. As for corners and a center of a calm dwelling, whisper inwardly, may I be peaceful. May I sleep if sleep wants me. May I rest even if I am awake. Then do nothing. Let the night hold you the way water holds a leaf, not asking it to sink or to swim, only to be carried by a current that has been moving since before you were born and will move long after you wake, calm and sure and kind. Let the breath become your path, not a task, a quiet footpath that begins exactly where you are and leads you, step by unhurried step, toward the clearing of ease. Begin by noticing what the breath is already doing without your management. The gentle swell low in the belly, the almost imperceptible rise beneath the collarbones, the exhale like a soft tide returning to sea. Place one hand where the breath is most obvious, perhaps the abdomen, perhaps the side ribs, perhaps the chest stand. Allow that contact to be a friendly anchor. Inhale through the nose as if smelling rain in the distance, slow and curious. Exhale through the nose as if fogging a cool window, warm and relaxed. If the air feels tight, imagine the nostrils as two small doors being held open from the inside by kindness. Now invite a simple rhythm, the kind that a tired heart finds believable. Breathe in for a quiet count of 4. Breathe out for a quiet count of 6, and repeat this 5 to 10 cycles. The slightly longer exhale is like tipping a pitcher gravity assists. The body learns to trust the letting go. After several rounds, let the breath slip back into its natural timing and notice whether the baseline feels softer, like a room after a window is cracked open. Keep the attention wide enough to include the edges of the breath, the moment just before the inhale begins, the brief shaw where the exhale finishes, and the pauses that are not gaps but glimmers of stillness. If you like gentle imagery, picture the breath as a small boat rocking on a moonlit inlet. The water is breath, the boat is awareness, and nothing needs to go anywhere. For those nights when thoughts press against the glass, you can give the mind a bead to hold. Silently say in on the inhale, out on the exhale. Or, if it comforts you, to weave the sacred into the rhythm, receive Namo on the inhale and offer Amitabha on the exhale, riding the breath the way a mantra rides a bell's fading tone. Feel how the phrase shapes the airflow, not as a command, but as a lullaby, and how breath shapes the phrase, round and merciful. Let the breath soften the face from within, as if the inside of the cheeks were being stroked by warm light. Notice the way the ribs glide like shutters opening and closing, the diaphragm lowering like a parachute that never jerks, the belly yielding and returning as faithfully as tied to shore. When you find yourself chasing a thought, do nothing dramatic. Simply notice the moment of remembering and return to the gentle texture of air moving. That returning is the practice. If a breath feels restricted, you can meet it with a variation called box breathing made tender. Inhale for 4, rest for 2, exhale for 4, rest for 2. Keep the corners rounded, no sharp edges, so the rests feel like settling into cushions rather than holding the breath hostage. Another variation, for when anxiety hums, is the 4-7-8 pattern. Breathe in for 4, hold for 7 as if cupping a candle in your hands, and breathe out for 8 as if cooling soup you will definitely enjoy. Use this lightly, a few rounds, then release into normal breathing, listening for the afterglow. If numbers feel busy, abandon them and count breaths instead. Letting one complete inhale-exhale pair be one count, moving from 1 to 10 and then beginning again at 1. If you lose track, that is not a mistake. It is a moment of waking up, and waking up is the point. The body understands rhythm, so you can also breathe to a slow inner metronome, perhaps matching the cadence of waves you remember from a shoreline, or the sway of a train when you were once lulled to sleep between stations. Notice the back of the breath, the way air touches the throat and then withdraws, the way the shoulder blades subtly spread on the inhale and drift together on the exhale. A conversation of bone and muscle and breath. Bring curiosity to the side ribs, places that often sleep under our awareness. Breathe as if you had gills there, letting the flanks widen. And on the exhale, feel them soften like curtains relaxing in a night breeze. If you are lying down, imagine the bed as a second lung beneath you, rising gently to meet you on the inhale and lowering to escort you on the exhale. This turns gravity into an ally and reminds the organism that support is continuous. On colder nights, feel the warmth of the outgoing breath on the upper lip, a tiny hearth, and let the incoming breath arrive cooler, a balancing breeze. Sense how the body regulates itself moment to moment, a quiet prayer answered again and again without fanfare. When the mind suggests that breathing is too simple to help, smile a little and remember that simplicity is medicine, and that life has been trusting this movement since before you had a name. If restlessness prickles through the limbs, try breathing as if you were pouring breath through a funnel into the pelvis on the inhale, filling the bowl of the hips and then letting it flow down both legs on the exhale, washing the calves and ankles, leaving the feet heavy and friendly to the earth. If heaviness feels oppressive, invert the image. Breathe up from the soles, through the arches and knees and thighs, into the pelvis and belly, and then exhale through the crown of the head like mist lifting from a hill at dawn. Let the breath be an artist of space, making room around discomfort without needing to move it. When you notice clenching around the heart, breathe as if there were a small window in the back of the chest. On the inhale, the window opens. On the exhale, fresh air moves through, and the room lets go of what is stale. Pair the breath with a phrase of kindness. On the inhale, may I receive. On the exhale, may I release. Or inhale, safe. Exhale, ease. If faith language soothes you, inhale, I take refuge. Exhale, I let go. These are not magic spells, but steadying ropes in a gentle climb down into calmness. The breath is both messenger and message. It carries news of the present to a mind that is often abroad, and the news is that you are here and that here is survivable. As the breath steadies, attention may widen to include the surrounding night, the low hum, the far sound, the silence that is not empty but full of room. Allow your awareness to float, held by this rhythm, and let the breath be important enough that everything else can be less urgent. If emotions rise, do not bar the door. Breathe them into a larger container, the way an ocean receives a river in flood, diluting intensity with volume. You can even let the breath gently bow to the emotion. I feel you, inhale. I am not you, exhale. The distance is compassionate, not cold. If sleep tugs at your sleeves, let counting blur, let mantras thin, let breath become background music, and allow the body to tip over the edge like a leaf that has finally found the right gust. If sleep does not arrive, nothing is broken. You are resting into wakefulness, and this, too, replenishes. Keep company with the breath as you would with a kind friend sitting beside you in the dark, saying little, staying. In time, you may notice a quiet shift. The breath breathes you. This is not an achievement, but a homecoming. Trust it. Let the edges of self soften. Let your attention mingle with the tide moving in and out. And feel gratitude for this ordinary miracle repeating itself within you, faithful as stars. If you want a final gesture before releasing the practice into sleep, place one hand on the heart and one on the belly, bow inward without moving, and let a simple blessing ride the breath. May these breaths be gentle. May this night be kind. May I wake tomorrow held by the same kindness I am practicing now. Then allow even the blessing to dissolve, leaving only breath and the dark, which is not empty after all, but full of the presence that breathing makes visible, and full of the rest that grows wherever kind attention touches. Let the mantra come to you as a familiar visitor rather than a taskmaster, a soft rhythm that fits inside your breathing and carries no demands. Begin by tasting the syllables in your mouth without sound, letting the lips and tongue learn their gentle choreography, Namo Amitabha Buddha, or the phrasing that lives in your lineage and feels like home. If you prefer Vietnamese, let Namo Amitabha Chant roll like a low, even tide. If another language is native to your heart, use it without apology. The mantra is not fragile. It is a bridge that meets you where you stand. Inhale and receive the first half as if you were opening a door. Exhale and offer the second half as if closing the door softly behind you. Keep the volume near silent, a murmur meant for the heart alone, or let it be wholly mental, the way a memory hums underneath thought. The key is consistency without strain, a steady bead of sound threading the needle of your attention. Imagine each repetition as a footprint in wet sand that the next wave kisses and smooths. Nothing is forced, nothing is held. If the mind asks what the mantra means, answer with experience rather than theory. It means a rhythm for kindness, a place to rest, a shared breath with the compassionate field that all names point toward. Some nights it helps to move the mantra through the body. First place it behind the forehead, not to chase thoughts but to offer them a softer bench. Then let it drop behind the eyes to ease their vigilant watch. Then let it bloom behind the cheekbones so the face then down the throat where words have collected, then into the chest where longing and relief trade places. then into the belly where life keeps time, and finally into the pelvis and legs and soles. So the whole frame hums with one simple phrase that does not worry about success. If you use mala beads, let one bead equal one utterance. Not to chase a number, but to anchor the hands in the same stillness the mind is learning. If you do not use beads, the breath itself is your rosary. Inhale the first half. Exhale the second half. Inhalation, receiving. Exhalation, releasing. When thoughts interrupt, meet them like courteous waves parting around a rock. The mantra is the rock, steady and unbothered, and you do not need to chase the water. When fatigue pulls the syllables out of shape, let them shorten into a friendly shorthand Amitabha. Umatabor, even a single seed sound that still points the compass toward compassion. The aim is not purity of diction. The aim is ease. If sleepiness is shy, try a slightly audible whisper for a minute or two, just enough to feel the vibration in the throat. Then let the voice retreat again into silence. That subtle vibration is a lullaby to the vagus nerve, telling the body that the village is safe tonight. Imagine the mantra as light that knows how to find the rooms you forget. It wanders down dim hallways and switches on small lamps in the shoulders, along the spine, under the ribs, in the joints of the hands, in the arches of the feet. Where it finds a locked door, an ache, or a worry, it does not knock loudly. It waits, and its waiting is medicine. If strong emotion rises, wrap it in the phrase without commentary, as if the mantra were gauze around a wound, not to hide it but to hold it while the body does its mysterious work. In moments of doubt, place your palm on the heart and synchronize touch, breath, and syllable, so three kindnesses converge into one. If memory insists on replaying the day, give it a role between scenes. Let the mantra be the curtain that falls and rises, unhurried, and after a few rises, the theater empties by itself. Some nights the practice is bright and steady. Other nights it is spotty, frayed, interrupted by yawns and small discomforts. All of these are good nights because you showed up and kept the lamp lit. Let the mantra soften time. You do not need to know whether it has been 5 minutes or 15. Let the repetitions blur into a gentle river whose only destination is quiet. If you want a structure, you can play with sets. 9 repetitions for the body, 9 for the speech, 9 for the mind, and then release, counting, and float. Or 3 breaths of mantra at the brow for clarity, 3 at the throat for ease of expression, 3 at the heart for warmth. Then let the current carry you. If you prefer imagery, picture a lotus at the heart that opens a petal on each exhale as the mantra washes through. When all petals have opened, imagine the flower floating on a still pond inside you, and keep repeating softly so the water stays calm. When the mind becomes curious about results, am I closer to sleep? Am I doing it right? Answer, with the next repetition and nothing else. Right now, the mantra itself is the destination. If sounds outside arise, the refrigerator's hum, a scooter passing, a dog somewhere speaking to the night, fold them into the syllables so that the world chants along, and you are not fighting sound but harmonizing with it. Let your face wear the almost smile of someone who is listening to a favorite lullaby from childhood. That expression teaches the nervous system without words. If you like, imagine that with each repetition you are brushing the surface of a lake with a feather. See how gently you can touch without stirring turbulence. The feather is your attention. The lake is your mind. The breeze is the breath. And the mantra is the steady hand that guides the feather. Occasionally, Let the syllables ride all the way to the end of the exhale until nothing remains but quiet. Rest for a heartbeat on that quiet, then pick up the thread again. These small silences are not absences. They are the soft landings that make the flight effortless. If impatience appears, include it chant specifically for the part of you that wants to be finished. If skepticism appears, include it let the mantra bow to skepticism and continue. The practice is large enough to seat every voice at the table. Over time, within this one night, you may feel the mantra move from the front of your mind to somewhere deeper, like music heard through a wall in the best possible way. So faint it does not ask for attention, but sweet enough that you know it is there. At that point, effort can release even more. Keep company with the phrase the way you keep company with breath, held, then holding you. If tears come, let them be spring rain on soil that needed it. Do not analyze the weather. If nothing at all comes, not even feeling, not even thought, continue anyway. Emptiness is not failure, it is blank paper for sleep to write on. If you wake in the middle of the night, return to a shortened form Amitabha on the exhale only, and let the inhale be naked air. This halves the work and doubles the mercy. If you find yourself tensely mouthing the words, reduce the size of the repetition until it is as quiet as a moth's wing. Then quieter still until it is simply intention, and let intention be enough. The mantra belongs to a long lineage, but tonight it belongs to this body, this bed, this breath. Offer the practice outward as well, after a few minutes of resting in the comfort it brings. Imagine the phrase traveling to someone who also cannot sleep. Friend, a stranger in the building. Someone on the other side of the world, and let your repetition be a small gift. They may never know you wrapped. Sometimes the heart widens when it remembers it is not alone, and sleep walks in through that wide door. As you near the end of this segment, let the mantra thin like mist, not vanished but diffused through the room, so that even the silence feels friendly. Keep one last thread, a syllable or two, looping lazily with the breath, and if you feel the moment is right, let even that thread fall onto the pillow beside you like a scarf, and rest your attention on the feeling of being held. There is no exam at the end of the night. There is only the simple goodness of having given yourself a steady, gentle rhythm and trusted it to lead you toward ease. If sleep arrives, the mantra will keep you company below the surface, like a lull in the current. If sleep does not arrive yet, the mantra will continue carrying you across the dark without hurry, and you will find that the dark itself is less dark when sung to with kindness. In either case, you are already on the path, and the path is already kind. Let the night teach you how to listen, not with effort, but with the kind of attention you offer a dear friend when words are unnecessary. Begin by noticing the texture of quiet in the room, not as emptiness, but as a soft field that receives everything. There is the hush pressed close to your skin, the small thrum inside the ears, the distant world coming and going like tides. Rather than screening out sound, allow it. The aim is not to build a bunker of silence, but to discover the peace that can include whatever arrives. Let the ears rest back into the head, as if sinking into warm sand. Imagine the muscles around the ear canals unclenching, the jaw unhooking, the throat unguarded. Sense how this simple softening changes the way sound touches you. Now widen awareness outward. Perhaps a refrigerator hums, a clock speaks in small clicks, an air conditioner purrs, a scooter stitches the street, a dog calls to another dog across invisible yards, or a faint wind fingers the window. Receive each as a visitor, neutral, neither enemy nor auditioning friend. With every sound, feel the body breathe. Inhale, the sound is met. Exhale, the sound is released. If a sudden noise startles you, acknowledge the jolt in the nervous system. There you are. Protector, then lengthen the next exhale and offer it a simple message. Safe enough now. You can let a quiet label arise to prevent stories from galloping away. Hearing, like a light touch of chalk that marks an experience without carving it into stone. Notice the interval after a sound fades, the small clearings that reveal quiet as an active presence. Listen for distance, then for near, then for the in-between. Let attention be spherical so the world can wrap around you. If tinnitus sings, treat it as part of the orchestra rather than a defect. Meet the tone with curiosity about its pitch, steadiness, and shape. Then include the room's hum. Then the breath's passage, until the tone sits in a larger sky and your relationship with it softens. You are not fixing sound. You are changing how it meets you. The mind may rush to evaluate too loud, too late. To distracting and, you can bow to its concern while declining its urgency. Replace commentary with a simple instruction. Let it be sound. Imagine each noise as a ripple on a lake. The lake is your awareness. Ripples appear, spread, and even while they exist, the lake is still fundamentally unthreatened. Let the mantra, if you are using it, be the moon reflected on that lake, steady and shaping the light of your attention. Hear sound and mantra together, not competing but interleaving. Namo as the night breathes in, Amitabha as the world breathes out, and in between them space enough for calm. You can practice a small experiment. Choose one sound and move close to it with tension. How long is each cycle of the refrigerator's motor? How the hum swells and rests? Then step back and include everything again so no single note dominates. This oscillation between focus and openness teaches your system that choice is available. If the brain hunts for meaning in muffled voices, let meaning drop away until voices become the human instrument only. Rise and fall, shape and timbre, and then widen further so that even that becomes texture. If a memory is triggered by a song from another room, a bird you knew as a child, thank the memory for visiting and return to hearing as hearing, not as a corridor into narrative. Listening can carry care. Try hearing with compassion. Imagine that every creature making noise tonight is trying to get home to ease, just as you are. The dog barking is a gatekeeper doing its best. The scooter is someone's last errand. The wind is the tree's way of stretching their backs. When sound wears the face of kinship, it softens by itself. If fear arises with certain noises, let the body feel supported by the bed and breathe the words here and now into the ribs. Then hear again from that support. The practice deepens when you notice the link between sound and sensation. A clang may tighten the belly. A siren may lift the shoulders. Meet the sound and the body's echo as one event, and gently release both on the exhale, like opening a fist you didn't know you were making. If your environment is very quiet, listen to subtler layers, the faint hiss of air through nostrils, the whisper of fabric when the chest rises, the heartbeat if it wants to be heard. Quiet is not absence. It is a choir singing pianissimo. Allow surprise. A sudden rain might begin, the first drops tapping like small drums on roofs and leaves. Then drumming fuller until the whole night is washed in a steady hush. Let rain be your mantra if it comes. Count the measures without counting. Feel how the constancy of sound lets the body trust gravity. or the city may stay wide awake. Traffic fading like waves, people laughing, a gate clanking, the world turning its pages out loud. Either way, train in friendliness. Sound is a teacher of impermanence. Every note rises, crests, dissolves. Ride a few all the way to their vanishing point to feel the relief that change brings. If a sound repeats and irritates, move closer with kindness as if to a small animal that is afraid. Ask quietly, what is your texture, your rhythm, your beginning and end, and what in me resists you? Often irritation hides a plea for rest. Meet it with a slower breath and a reminder that you are not obligated to like something to coexist with it. Listening can also be devotional without being heavy. Consider that each sound is announced by silence and returns to silence. The silence is like a vast temple in which bells ring and subside, voices enter and leave. Sense the temple around you and inside you. Sometimes touch the silence directly by letting the mantra fade for a few breaths, and resting as someone who is being listened to by the night itself. Let yourself feel received. Then, if you wish, bring the mantra back, placing it lightly so it does not press on the quiet but rides within it. You might explore the subtle direction of sound. Where does the hum seem to come from? Can you hear above you, below you, behind you, within you? When awareness includes multiple directions, the body often relaxes as if a lookout with too narrow a view has been relieved by a whole watch crew. In that widening, sleep often finds a place to enter. If you wake after sleeping and the room feels noisy, return to this practice as to a faithful friend. Here, label gently if helpful, breathe longer out than in for a minute, and feel the bed beneath you as proof that you can remain. If there is nothing to hear but much chatter, treat thought sound as sound to hearing, thinking, hearing, and let it pass through the same open door. Listening is not passive. It is active acceptance. When your attention wanders, do not scold. Notice you have ears again and begin anew. Each re-beginning is a small bell a tender monk rings in the monastery of your night. Over time, it's not hours you may notice that sounds which felt intrusive now feel braided into a lullaby you did not know the world was singing. You may even feel gratitude for the ordinary chorus that proves life is all around you working. Resting, breathing, a chorus that will continue when you are deeply asleep, keeping watch without needing your help. Before you let go completely, offer a brief dedication on the next breath. May all who wake to noise find a way to be held by it. May all who long for quiet discover the quiet that includes. Then stop arranging anything. Let the ears remain open the way windows are open on a temperate night, and let the breeze move as it pleases. Allow listening to collapse into simple being, and let being slide into sleep if sleep wants you. If sleep does not land yet, you have still woven a wide cradle of attention that will carry you without friction. And in that, carrying the heart learns that the world can be itself and you can be yourself, and rest can happen in the middle of life, which is where we always are. Let us turn toward worry with the same tenderness we have been offering breath and body, not to wrestle it into silence, but to understand its language and ease its grip. Begin by acknowledging that worry is a form of care with its volume turned to high. It wants to protect you from imagined cliffs by rehearsing every edge in advance. Place a hand over the heart or the belly and name it softly. Worry is here. You are not the worry. You are the sky noticing a weather pattern. Allow 3 gentle breaths to arrive and depart, slightly longer on the exhale, and feel how the body answers a calmer rhythm. bring to mind one small thread of concern rather than the whole knot. Perhaps the mind goes to a conversation that might be difficult, a bill that asks to be paid, an uncertainty about health or work or love. Choose one strand and rest your attention there as if you were sitting beside a friend who needs to speak. Ask inwardly, what are you trying to help me with? Do not rush to fix or argue. Listen. Often worry believes that if it stops spinning, you will forget to prepare or will be unlovable or unsafe. Thank it for trying to keep you safe. Gratitude disarms reactivity. Now invite a simple practice of labeling. When an image arises of a future scene, say gently imagining. When a sentence repeats, say thinking. When a body sensation tightens, say feeling. Labeling is not scolding. It is a soft bell that wakes you up inside the story. Return again to the anchor of breath and the contact points with the bed. The present tense realities that do not ask for solving. If the mind insists on running a movie, slow it down to a single frame. See yourself in the first moment of that meeting, or opening the envelope, or hearing the news. And then pause, as if holding a photograph. Let the body speak. What do you feel in the throat, the chest, the belly, the hands? Place the mantra like a warm cloth over those places. Namo Amitabha, Buddha on the exhale, and sense whether a little space opens. Space does not mean the problem disappears. It means you are not pressed against it so tightly that you cannot breathe. From this small space, practice the art of the compassionate question. What is within my power now, tonight, from bed? Most often the answers are simple. Rest, breathe, choose kindness, write a note for tomorrow, set an alarm, drink water, soften the jaw, wish myself well. If an action for tomorrow arises, jot it on a tiny paper by the bed, or imagine placing it into a clear bowl. You will see in the morning. The mind trusts you more when it knows the task is stored and will not be lost. If no action is possible, repeat a phrase of wise acceptance. Not now, tomorrow will be tomorrow. Let the words settle like sediment in water. Some worries are not about events, but about identity. Am I enough? Did I fail? Will I be loved? Meet these with the tender discipline of truth-telling. On the inhale, acknowledge the pain. This is insecurity. This is fear. On the exhale, answer with reality. I am a human being practicing kindness right now. No one has ever become more lovable by staying awake to punish themselves. Imagine a younger version of yourself lying beside you, worried and tired, and place an arm around their shoulders in your mind. Tell them what you most needed to hear. I'm here. You are safe enough for this night. We can rest and still be responsible tomorrow. When worry argues that sleeping is irresponsible, smile and remember that rest is part of your responsibility. A rested mind meets life better than a frantic one. If the mind produces catastrophes, take one and gently examine it with the light of the present. Ask, is this happening now? If yes, then feeling it is appropriate. Breathe and comfort the body that is living it. If no, note that the body was preparing for a fight without an opponent in the room, and let the exhale be a signal to stand down. Sometimes it helps to negotiate with worry. You may speak to me for 3 breaths. Then we rest for 3 breaths. Then, if something still matters, we can write it down. Keep your promise. Worry will learn that it is heard and does not need to shout. Mindfulness is not the absence of thought. It is the capacity to notice thinking and choose a kinder response. When a loop repeats, bow to it and return to the breath-matched mantra. Each return is a stitch that strengthens your inner blanket. If self-judgment arrives, "Can't I relax? I'm doing it wrong," practice the radical move of welcoming even this. "Oh, judgment is here," a part that believes criticism is motivating. "Thank you for your effort." Tonight, we try gentleness instead. Imagine adding another chair at your inner table for judgment, worry, doubt, and letting them eat warm soup while kindness pours tea. In this image, no one is thrown out into the cold. Inclusion is what dissolves their urgency. Turn now to the body and invite worry to show itself in sensation. Where does it live tonight? The chest, the belly, the throat. Place one palm there and breathe directly into contact, as if your hand were the hand of a reassuring elder. For 3 or 5 breaths, lengthen the exhale and imagine the area receiving exactly the right amount of oxygen and warmth. Then, ask that place what it needs: pressure, softness, a shift in position, a pillow, and give it that if you can. If not, give it your attention. Often that is what it wanted. If images of worst-case futures keep erupting, try the technique of expanding context. Place the feared scene in a larger frame: the hours before it, the hours after, the allies you have, the strengths you have shown before, the help you can ask for. Watch how context reduces the sense of being trapped. Then zoom back out to tonight. The dark room, the breath, the mantra like a low lamp, the fact that right now you are safe enough to lie down. Safety can be partial and still be true. Consider a brief loving kindness sequence to transform the emotional tone as you inhale. Imagine the heart widening by 1 small degree. As you exhale, send a phrase like, "May I be held, may I find ease, may I meet tomorrow with steadiness." After a few rounds, let the circle widen. May the other people involved be held and find ease. May we meet with steadiness. Not as a moral performance, but as a practical medicine, because goodwill calms your system and clears your perception. Goodwill does not mean consent to harm. It means you refuse to add extra harm in your own mind. Let the practice become physical again. Relax the tongue. Lower the shoulders. Feel the bed under your calves and heels. Let the hands grow heavy. Continue the mantra in the background like a stream behind a house. If a particularly sticky thought keeps returning, write it in the air with your fingertip on the exhale, then watch it evaporate. Or imagine placing it on a leaf and setting the leaf on a slow river that threads through a forest you love. Do not chase the leaf, only wish it well and return to the river's sound. At intervals, name 3 things actually present: cool air at the nose, weight on the left hip, hum of the room, and this grounds you again in the only place where calm can be grown. If grief rises under the worry, let it. Grief is love that has not found a new shape yet. Hold it with the mantra, no commentary, and breathe. Tears are not the enemy of sleep. Often they are the door. If anger hides under the worry, feel its heat without acting on the heat. Let it move through the arms and chest like a storm you can watch from a strong house. Tell it thank you for your clarity. We will use your energy wisely when the sun is up. Then bid it rest. If numbness arrives, include numbness. There is room for that too. Now make a gentle vow that belongs to this night only. I will not abandon myself when I am afraid. I will meet my fear with steady breath, kind words, and appropriate action at the right time. Repeat this once or twice and feel how the body stands a little taller inside the bed even while lying down. Let the mind picture the worry as a lantern placed on the ground, not held at eye level. You can still see by it, but it no longer floods your vision. Return to the felt sense of being supported, the breath sliding in and out, the mantra polishing the edges of attention until they are smooth. If the mind asks for proof that you can handle tomorrow, offer it memories of times you did difficult things while tired, while uncertain, and still managed. Then remind it that doing difficult things goes better after sleep. Let this be enough. Finally, soften effort altogether. Let the mantra continue by itself as if a wise companion were humming nearby. Let the breath be breathed. Let the body arrange itself into comfort, even if that means moving slowly to your favorite sleeping side or adjusting a blanket so your feet are warm. Imagine the worry bowl outside your door and place into it, one by one, the names of your concerns, as if setting down stones. Hearing them clink softly, knowing they will be there in the morning if needed. Bow inward to the part that tried to keep you safe by thinking so hard. Tell it, "Thank you, dear one, we rest now." Then allow the phrases and images to fade, and let there be only the room, the night, the quiet pulse of life in you and around you, and the gentle drift toward sleep that comes not because you forced it, but because you turned toward yourself with the same compassion you have long offered to others. Begin by letting kindness settle first where it is most often forgotten, with yourself, here, exactly as you are, without conditions or delay. Place one hand over your heart or on your cheek as if greeting a friend you have not seen in years, and let the touch be simple and unperformed. Breathe in as though receiving a small warmth. Breathe out as though sharing it. And offer a few plain phrases that feel believable tonight. May I be safe enough. May I be softened where I am hard. May I rest without needing to earn it. May I wake more gentle tomorrow. Let these words ride the breath rather than march ahead of it. If they feel awkward, remember that tenderness is a muscle. Practice feeds it, not perfection. Imagine a small candle at the center of your chest, steady and quiet, giving off a circle of warm light that reaches the ribs and the back and the shoulders. On the inhale, the candle brightens by the smallest degree. On the exhale, its light expands a palm's width. If doubt appears, include doubt. May the doubting parts of me be held. If the mind argues that self-kindness breeds laziness, smile softly and recall that exhausted engines misfire, but were loyal ones hum. As the warmth gathers, think of a benefactor, someone or something that effortlessly evokes goodness, a teacher, a grandparent, a friend, a beloved animal, a moment in nature when you felt seen by the world. Feel how your chest responds to their memory, the spontaneous lift, the way the shoulders loosen. Offer them the same phrases, tailored by affection. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be at ease. May you sleep smiling. Imagine the candlelight in your chest meeting the candlelight in theirs and growing brighter in the overlap. Let gratitude flow toward them like a stream that requires no map. And on the exhale, picture comfort reaching them wherever they are, beyond distance, beyond walls. If tears come, welcome them. Compassion sometimes waters what was dry. Now bring to mind someone neutral, a person you pass without much thought, the night shift guard, the neighbor whose name you don't yet know, the barista, the driver who paused so you could cross the road. See their face as best you can, imperfectly is fine, and offer them the same care. May you be safe. May you be free from unnecessary strain. May your night hold a corner of rest. May your life lean toward ease. Notice how extending goodwill to someone ordinary stretches your heart without tearing it. It is like reaching to a shelf just above eye level, a lengthening rather than a strain. Next, if you feel steady, invite into your awareness someone with whom there is friction. Not the most difficult person, just a mild edge. Keep the candle at your chest burning kindly. Let the breath steady you. Remember that offering compassion does not erase boundaries or condone harm. It simply refuses to add to harm inside your own mind. Imagine this person as a younger being doing their best with what they were taught, the way all of us do. Offer them the phrases without drama. May you be safe. May you understand what brings genuine happiness. May you be released from the confused habits that hurt you and others. May you rest tonight. If resistance rises, acknowledge it and add, may my resistance be held to. What matters is the direction of the heart, not the perfection of the feeling. Let the circle widen now to include your building, your block, the tiny web of lives sleeping, working, worrying, laughing around you. Picture the rooms stacked like beehives, each with its own weather of hopes and aches, and imagine your breath as a bellows of kindness that feeds many small flames. On the inhale, receive the shared humanness of everyone around you. On the exhale, share the warmth you have kindled. If you prefer, synchronize this with the mantra Namo on the inhale, Amitabha on the exhale, the name carrying care like a boat carrying lanterns downstream. Let your mind dress kindness in images it understands. A quilt being pulled over the city, a gentle rain that does not ask who deserves water, a tide that lifts every boat by the same quiet law. Include those you cannot see, the nurse washing her hands before tending a patient, the parent rocking a wakeful child, the lone worker sweeping a platform, the elderly neighbor listening to the night for company, the student staring at a paragraph that will not soften, the person in a fight with their own thoughts who has not yet learned the trick of friendly breathing. Offer phrases that fit this wide field. May those who are awake find soft ground under their feet. May those who are tired be held. May sharpness become less sharp. May those in danger find real safety. May those who have power use it to protect. If your heart aches at the scale of suffering in the world, let that ache be a vote for love, not a reason to shut down. The candle can feed other candles without losing itself. Now bring the practice closer again to your own body, because compassion begins at home and returns there often. Breathe into any place that feels left out the back of the heart, the belly, the throat, and speak inwardly with a parent's patience. Thank you for carrying me. I am listening, we can rest. If guilt arrives for what you did or did not do today, meet it with a factual kindness. I am learning. I am trying. I will make a repair where needed in the morning. Tonight, I release the whip, then widen again, this time to include animals and trees and rivers. The night's quiet labor that keeps the world alive while we sleep. Imagine the stray dog finding a warmer doorstep, the cat on a roof choosing stillness over the next hunt, the birds tucked into leaves, the fish in dark water, the insects buzzing their tiny prayers, the banyan resting in its vastness, the ocean breathing with you. May all beings who can feel fear find a corridor out of it. May habitats be protected. May life be met with reverence. Let your ribs answer without words. If there is someone you miss, living or gone, imagine placing a small bundle of blessings into their hands. Rest, warmth, forgiveness, peace. Feel how giving is also receiving. Your chest loosens as theirs is imagined to loosen. If there is someone you need to forgive or ask forgiveness from, you do not have to compose letters now. You can rehearse goodwill gently. May we both be free from the burden of this knot. May clarity come when the sun is up. For now, may the night soothe what it can. If you struggle to feel anything at all, which happens to all hearts sometimes, practice compassion as an intention rather than a sensation. Think the phrases as you might water a seed under the soil without seeing green yet. Seeds do not rush. They trust their season. Your season will come. Keep the body comfortable. Adjust the blanket so your feet are warm, because small mercies teach large ones. Let the exhale lengthen slightly to whisper to your nervous system that the village is safe enough. If restlessness flickers, imagine breathing in the discomfort of all beings who feel the same flicker right now, not to drown you, but as a brief acknowledgement, I see you. Siblings in the dark hand, breathing out ease to all of us. A few rounds of this Tonglen-like gesture can transform isolation into kinship, and kinship itself is a bomb. Shift attention to the face of someone who has hurt you, and without denying the hurt, try one sentence. May you be released from the confusion that causes harm. Then turn the sentence inward. May I be released from the confusion that causes harm. Feel the symmetry, not as a verdict, but as a doorway into humility, which often lets the heart unclench. Let the practice grow quieter now, less words, more sensing. The candle in the chest is steady. Its circle of light has reached as far as needed for tonight's self, friend, stranger, difficult one, neighborhood, world, and it remains bright where it began. Trust that this light will keep working even as you sleep, the way the body repairs tissue without your instruction. If you prefer a final image, picture a lotus floating on a still pond at the heart. On each exhale, one petal closes, not from withdrawal but from completion, as the flower prepares for night. With each closing petal, whisper something simple. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for the chance to try again tomorrow. Let gratitude and compassion mingle until they are one feeling. Then let feeling give way to atmosphere, a climate of gentleness in which the mind can finally put down its tools. You may notice that the boundary between you and the room has softened, not erased but friendly. The bed rises to meet your weight, as if the earth was saying, I've got you. Keep the mantra faint as a heartbeat, or let it go. Keep the phrases as small sparks, or let them dim. What remains is the taste of kindness, like warm tea lingering after the cup is empty. In this taste, sleep can find you easily, because there is nothing left to prove and no one left to fight. If sleep does not come yet, remain in the field you have grown, and rest as someone who trusts that the field is real. Compassion is not a switch. It is whether you learn to invite. Tonight you have invited it, and it has entered. And it will keep you company quietly, faithfully until morning. And beyond morning into the small gestures of your day, so that the practice begun in darkness spreads its warmth into everything you touch. Letting go is not a trick you perform, but a climate you invite. The way evening invites stars by doing nothing but dimming. Begin by noticing where effort is still hiding in the body. The small clenches of habit that insist on holding the world together with willpower, forehead slightly knit, tongue pressing the teeth, shoulders recruited to guard against unnamed futures, belly braced as if awaiting a wave. Greet each one as a helpful but tired worker, and offer them the night off. Feel how a single long exhale can be a signed permission slip. Imagine you are carrying a bag of smooth stones labeled with the tasks and identities of the day professional. Partner, child, parent, friend, fixer, performer, protector. See yourself kneeling beside a quiet stream within, and set one stone down with each breath. This one was vigilance, this one productivity, this one comparison, this one the need to be understood, this one the armor of small jokes, this one the urge to reply perfectly. Hear the soft sounds as they meet water and rest. You do not abandon responsibility. You simply postpone performances that have no stage at midnight. Now widen the exercise to the mind's stories. Picture a cloudless sky just after dusk and place each recurring storyline on a kite. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I said the wrong thing? What if tomorrow's bridge cannot bear my weight? The strings are in your hand. On the inhale, feel the pull of those questions. On the exhale, open your fingers. Watch the kites rise, small and smaller, until you remember they are paper and wind and your hand is empty. The questions are not answered. They are released from having to be answered right now. Letting go is not forgetting. It is choosing a better time to remember. Bring the attention to breath and give it the simplest possible job. In, out, soft, warm. If a thought returns with teeth, do not argue. Offer it to bed. Say, rest here until morning. If the thought refuses, whisper the mantra once and lay the mantra like a blanket over it. The blanket does not suffocate. It warms and quiets. Sometimes you can assist the nervous system with small physical gestures that signal surrender. Uncross ankles. Spread fingers and let them curl again by their own choice. Sway the head side to side as if saying no to further effort. Or place one palm on the heart and one on the belly to remind the system that someone kind is at the helm. If you feel compelled to fix something, choose one tiny act that lives inside this minute sip water. Adjust a pillow. Write a 2-word note for morning and then declare the toolbox closed. The rest can wait on the porch of dawn. Let the room become part of the practice. Darkness is not an enemy. It is a soft authority that says it is safe to step back. Listen to its counsel. Trust the routine sounds as proof that the world continues to turn without your constant supervision. Let the bed be a raft. The river will carry both of you. If you fear that letting go means losing control, test the edge with a friendly experiment. For 5 breaths, relinquish the urge to monitor anything. Then check gently, nothing fell apart. For 10 breaths, let the breath breathe you. For the next 10, let even the counting fade. Notice how empty hands can receive more comfort than clenched fists. If you have been holding a particular person in your mind with tightness, wanting them to be different, fearing their judgment, needing their praise, place their image on the stream of stones and let the water cool it. Repeat inwardly, may I allow others to be themselves and myself to be myself tonight. This is not apathy. It is a Sabbath of the heart. Scan again for remnants of gripping. Many people hold the day in their jaw and the past in their shoulders and the future in their belly. As you breathe out, imagine 3 doorways opening, one at the temples, one under the shoulder blades, one just below the navel. Through these, tension slips away like birds at dusk finding the dark trees. If sadness rises when you loosen your grip, welcome it as evidence that you care. Give it space on the bed beside you and stroke its hair with the rhythm of the breath until it grows drowsy. If anger jumps up to keep watch, ask it kindly to sit down and share the watch with the mantra. Thank it for trying to keep you safe. Let angers and sorrows be guests. Hosts do not wrestle guests, they offer tea and time. Letting go also has a cognitive flavor that you can cultivate with simple truth. Say to yourself, what is done is done. What is not done is not done. I am allowed to be a living creature, not a machine. Rest is legitimate. The earth turns without my permission. These sentences are not slogans. They are handrails. If the mind accuses you of irresponsibility, answer with the next inhalation and exhalation. Responsible people sleep. It is part of their responsibility. Bring in imagery that softens control. Think of a field of tall grass in a night breeze. The grass does not hold the wind steady or chase it. It moves, it returns, it moves. Think of a harbor where boats rock, ropes slacken, water works under them the whole time. The boats do not command the tide, they yield and float, and that is how they survive weather. Think of a temple bell that you strike once in your mind. The tone expands on its own. You do not stretch it with effort, you listen. Now allow the mantra to thin into something like that tone. Namo on the arrival of breath, Amitabha on the return, then less, then as much as feels natural. If a yawn comes, open the mouth wide and let it reorder the muscles. If a swallow wants to happen, let it complete. If a sigh arrives, do not apologize to the empty room. Sighing is a kind of letting go that speaks fluent nervous system. You may notice a voice inside that wants a guarantee. If I let go, will sleep come? Notice the bargain, smile at its logic, and answer with humility. Letting go is not a purchase. It is a gift. I give it, and something good happens whether or not it looks like what I planned. Perhaps the gift is sleep. Perhaps it is deep rest without sleep. Perhaps it is simply not fighting myself for a while. All three are mercies. If you wake later in the night, practice an abbreviated version. Feel the support beneath you. Lengthen the exhale for 3 breaths, release the jaw, and imagine putting the night back in the hands of the night, like returning a book to its proper shelf. If you are pulled into rehearsals again, let the rehearsal be a puppet whose strings are cut, folding quietly. If you find yourself wide awake, turn toward letting go in a different form. Let go of the goal to sleep. Rest on purpose. Whisper a line like, "May this wakefulness be gentle," and notice how permission robs anxiety of oxygen. To assist the body's chemistry, you can practice soft counting, not to force, but to soothe. Count down by 7s from a high number while letting numbers blur. If you lose the track, that is the track. Or imagine a slow walk through familiar rooms, turning off 1 lamp per exhale. Hallway, kitchen, corner light, porch, entry, last small lamp by the bed. With each click, some part inside you learns again how to darken. Letting go is also returning what is not yours to carry. Hand back to others their choices, to time its unfolding, to weather its mood, to the past its finished. Keep what is yours, your breath, your posture, your kindness. See how light your arms feel when they carry only what fits in them. Feel how the bed seems to rise as gravity does its hymn. Make a quiet vow to trust smaller moves, softer shoulders, slower breath, a kinder phrase, a hum that loosens the throat. Small moves, repeated, change climate. And if the mind begs for one last round of planning, give it a tiny container, the length of one song in your imagination. One slow verse, then bow to it and return to the patient river of not doing. As the practice ripens, the edges of you might blur with the dark in a way that feels safe. As if you have tilted from being the one who holds the night to being the one the night holds. There is relief in that reversal. You can allow the mantra to become mist, the breath to become tide, the thoughts to become birds asleep on a wire, the heart to become a lantern that burns low and steady. Let even these images fade until there is no technique, only atmosphere. If the mind still loops, let it loop in a wider circle and watch how even loops spend themselves when not fueled by argument. Feel the quiet intelligence of the body taking over, the ancient animal that knows how to nest, how to lower its guard when the cave is warm and the fire low. You have done enough for one day. Put down your tools. Put down your titles. Put down your name until morning if you wish. Someone will hand it back when the light returns, and it will fit better for having been left alone. For now, you are a breathing, beating, listening creature in the dark, born on a planet that hums. Trust the hum. Trust the dark. Trust the way letting go is not a fall but a settling. The way a snow globe clears when hands stop shaking it. The way a lake remembers its mirror when winds tire. The way you remember yourself when you stop trying to be anything but the one who is held. Intention is the quiet architect of tomorrow, and tonight is the drafting table. As you lie here, soft and unguarded, let the mind tilt gently toward the kind of day you wish to grow and make your vows small, human, and believable. The way seeds are small and yet contain forests. Begin with gratitude, not as spectacle, but as nourishment. Thank this body for carrying you, this breath for steadying you, this room for sheltering you, the ordinary mercies that arrived unannounced. On the inhale, receive that recognition. On the exhale, let it spread. Now imagine the threshold of morning as a door you will pass through, and place upon its lintel a few promises written in clear letters. I will meet what comes with as much patience as I can. I will choose one true kindness over 3 clever victories. I will speak a little more gently than my mood. I will remember to pause before I press send. I will protect my attention as I would protect a small flame in wind. Keep the promises modest. Modest promises are the ones that keep you. If it helps, bind them to concrete moments. When I wake, I will sit up and feel 3 breaths before touching my phone. Before my first sip of tea or coffee, I will whisper a wish that those who need warmth receive it. When I step outside, I will look at the sky for a breath and let it right-size my worries. When I hear a complaint in me rise, I will soften my jaw and choose 1 word less. When I make a mistake, I will repair as soon as I can without waiting to be perfectly unashamed. When I feel hurried, I will slow my exhale and remember that urgency is not accuracy. When I am kind, I will not narrate it. I will just be kind. Let these intentions soak into the body, because vows held only in the head evaporate. Feel how your ribs lift slightly at the thought of patience, how your shoulders drop at the thought of non-defensiveness, how your hands loosen at the thought of giving without an invoice. Bring to mind the 5 remembrances recast as gentle anchors for the day. This body is changing. My plans are changing. The people I love are changing. Loss exists, and actions shape experience. Hold these not as threats, but as clarifiers that help you love what is here while it is here. If you live by precepts, tuck simplified versions under your pillow for the morning. I will avoid harming and practice help. I will avoid taking and practice giving. I will avoid falsehood and practice truth with tenderness. I will avoid carelessness and practice presence. I will avoid intoxication of mind and practice clarity. If that feels heavy, choose only one to emphasize tomorrow and let the rest ride in the background like friendly constellations. Place your work life on the altar of intention without demanding perfection. May I contribute without burning. May I focus without hardening. May I ask for help when help would be wise. May I recognize the difference between important and loud. Picture your colleagues with their private mornings, their children's shoes, their aging parents, their quiet hopes, their aches. Hold them in a brief circle of goodwill so the day begins with a wider heart. Place your family or closest people into the same circle, adding the intention to listen for what is beneath their words, to apologize before resentment grows roots, to celebrate one small thing that usually passes unnoticed, to protect time for rest in the relationship so that love does not run only on obligation. If you live alone, place your own name in the circle and include the community of neighbors, delivery drivers, medical workers, teachers, farmer strangers whose unseen labor knits your day together, and vow to remember them at least once while you are awake. If you know a specific challenge awaits an exam, a diagnosis call, a negotiation, a needed boundary craft, an intention that meets it with realism and compassion. May I be steady enough to hear clearly. May I remember I am more than this outcome. May I stand where I must without turning to stone. May my words be firm and warm at the same time. May I walk away if that is what self-respect requires. May I stay if that is what care requires, and may I know which is which. Imagine for a moment that your future self from tomorrow night is visiting you now, sitting at the edge of your bed, smiling with the quiet knowledge of what unfolded. Ask them to hand you one piece of advice. Often it is simple. Take a breath. Take a break. Say thank you. Silence is also a sentence. Move your body. Drink water. Be on your own side. Receive the advice and make room for it in your morning pocket. Turn the mind now toward the wider world without letting it crush you. Intend not to look away from suffering nor to drown in it. Promise to practice one act of small civic care. Pick up a piece of litter. Tip generously if you can. Send a message of appreciation to someone who might rarely hear one. Read for 5 minutes on an issue that matters so your empathy has bone. Offer your seat. Greet a worker by name. Give way in traffic. Donate a little money or time. Or simply refrain from adding extra harm in a moment when irritation invites you. These acts are the low branches of Bodhisattva. Reaching them trains the heart to reach a bit higher next time. Let intention be a compass, not a whip. If you miss a mark, you are not expelled from the path. You are simply invited to begin again on the very next breath. Dedicate the fruit of tonight's practice to the beings you will meet tomorrow, known and unknown. May whatever calm I grow be shared through my face, my words, my choices. May those who cross my path feel even 1 degree safer or more seen because I am practicing. If spiritual language nourishes you, offer a simple refuge vow for one day. I take refuge in awakening, in the teachings that free the heart, in the community of all who are learning with me. May I remember this when I am pulled by habit. If you do not use that language, translate, I trust the possibility of clarity. I trust time-tested tools. I trust fellow humans who are trying. May I draw from that trust when I wobble. Return to the breath as the signature on the vow. Inhale with the sense of receiving courage. Exhale with the sense of distributing kindness. You might weave your mantra into this, Namo, as you picture the morning light entering the room. Amitabha, as you picture yourself stepping into the day with a steady face. See the first hour proceeding with gentleness, sheets loosened. Feet meet in the floor, a drink of water, a few stretches, One moment of looking at something, living the sky, a plant. Your reflection with friendliness instead of critique. Promise to protect at least a small island of silence during the day. A minute between meetings, a pause before replying, a breath at the Sinka monastery hidden in plain sight. Promise to end the day with one gesture of completion. Closing the laptop with a thank you. Laying the phone down screen first. Washing the cup slowly. Touching the door frame as you leave a room with a whisper of gratitude for roofs and hinges. These small closures teach the nervous system that life happens in chapters, and chapters can close without catastrophe. If guilt, cynicism, or fear critiques your intentions, write, now calling them naive, performative, insufficient, bow to those voices and include them in the dedication. May the cynical in me be warmed by evidence of goodness. May the fearful in me be calmed by presence. May the guilty in me be guided toward repair over rumination. Then return to the simple clarity that intention is not a performance for an audience. It is an agreement between your heart and your future hours. For a last minute, imagine tomorrow as a garden and yourself as both gardener and guest. What will you water? What will you prune? What will you admire without trying to own it? What will you leave wild? Feel the pleasure of imagining a day in which you participate without being consumed. Feel the relief of deciding in advance that kindness will be your default and boundaries will be your safety rails. Feel the humility of admitting that the weather might change and you will adapt. Plant all this by breathing it into the chest and letting the exhale press it into soil. Then seal the practice with a dedication that is only a sentence long and just for tonight. May whatever rest I receive become rest for others through me tomorrow. Let the words dissolve like a sugar cube. Let the body surrender to the bed. Let the night continue its quiet work of turning seeds into shoots in the dark. And when morning comes, you will not need to remember every sentence you made here. It will be enough to remember the feeling of promising yourself a kinder day, and to take the first small step that keeps the promise alive. As the practice comes to rest, imagine you are standing at the edge of a quiet meadow at night. The path behind you, soft with footprints that know their way back to kindness. The path ahead dissolving into starlight that does not hurry you. Everything you have done this evening, clearing a gentle space, trusting breath, repeating the mantra like a lullaby, listening to the world without resistance, meeting worry with compassion, widening the circle of care, loosening your grip. Planting small vows has braided itself into a single thread that now lays across your chest, warm and steady, and all that remains is to be carried by it. Feel the bed hold your weight with the competence of earth itself. Allow the spine to nestle into its natural curves, the tongue to rest, the eyelids to drape, the shoulders to settle like birds finding their branches. Let each inhale arrive as a subtle gift, and each exhale depart like a small boat you no longer need to steer. If a thought leans in, nod and let it lean back into the night. If an emotion stirs, make room and let it rock itself toward ease. If nothing arises at all, savor the honest simplicity of that nothing. You might picture a temple bell far away being struck once. The tone swells on its own, needs no pushing, and fades into a silence that is not empty but full of room. Let your mantra become that tone if it wants to Namo on the arrival, Amitabha on the return, or let it fade until it is only the feeling of being accompanied, a presence beside you that hums without sound. Let the breath be smaller now, more secret, a tide at low moon that still keeps its covenant with the shore. If the body aches, lay the ache on a pillow of attention, not to fix it, but to hold it the way you might hold a drowsy child. If the mind flickers with plans, give it tomorrow's light to eat and watch it settle. If a memory taps, thank it for coming home. You do not have to guard the doorway of sleep. There is a night watch that has always worked without your orders. The heart, the lungs, the quiet labor of cells, the patient tide of hormones, the brain rinsing itself in darkness like stones in a stream. Surrender the night to that wise crew and keep only one simple task: to be here while being here becomes less than effort, then less than intention, then simply being. Offer a last handful of gratitude without ceremony, for the roof and the rain or the clear sky, for the shape of your hands, for trust in tools older than your worry, for teachers known and unknown, for the mercy of having a bed, for the opportunity to begin again whenever you remember. If faith language nourishes you, tuck yourself under it lightly. May the light of compassion I have summoned return to its source and continue to shine through me in the morning. If not, translate, may what is gentle stay near. Let gratitude slide into silence like a canoe into water. Imagine the edges of your body softening, not vanishing, just less insistent, as if the outline were drawn in charcoal smudged by a friendly thumb. Let the room's quiet enter you and your quiet. Enter the room until inside and outside trade places and the trade feels normal. If the mind asks for a final reassurance, offer it this: nothing is demanded of you in this moment, and nothing essential is being neglected by your resting. Repeat, if needed, until the guard dog lies down. Let the senses dim as if turning down small lamps one by one, sight behind closed eyes. Taste quiet on the tongue, scent mild and undramatic. Touch a blanket of temperature and weight. Sound a soft geography you have learned how to include. If you wake later, you will know this road back. For now, keep walking without walking. Picture the seeds of intention you planted earlier resting in the dark soil of your chest, germinating in their own time, asking nothing from you except the courtesy of not digging them up. Trust that the heart is a greenhouse when treated with kindness, and that sleep is rain you cannot schedule but can invite. If drowsiness gathers, bow to it without moving, a bow that says thank you for arriving when you could. If drowsiness hesitates, tell it there is space saved here, a pillow with its name. Drift your awareness to the crown of the head and then slowly down to the soles. A final soft sweep that says good night to every room of the house you live in. Good night temples and jaw. Good night throat and collarbones. Good night chest and back and belly. Good night hips and thighs and knees. Good night calves and ankles and feet. Let that good night unfurl like a ribbon that floats to the floor, and hear the faintest click of a door closing with love. Somewhere a breeze passes through trees you cannot see. Somewhere a nurse checks a monitor. Somewhere a tide turns. Somewhere, in another bed, someone repeats a quiet phrase and hopes for what you hope for. Join them in the invisible choir that sings not with words but with consent to rest. If a final image helps, keep this one. You are a small boat moored in a protected cove. Lantern low, hull rocking, the bigger water beyond you breathing its ancient breath. The rope is tied, the knot is sure, the night is friendly, and you are allowed to sleep. Or this one, you are a field after harvest, laid open to stars, nothing to produce. The work done for now, do forming like a blessing you do not have to deserve. Or simply this: you are you, beloved by the life that lent you breath, returning that breath in easy installments to the life that will use it again for morning. Let the mantra be a trace, then a hint, then a memory of sound. Let the breath be a feather. Let gravity finish the sentence you no longer need to hold up. And as the sentence ends, and the page turns without your hands, and the night does its slow, faithful work, allow the most tender dedication to float across the last edge of waking May. My rest become rest for others through me, and let those words dissolve like sugar in warm tea, leaving only sweetness without form. Then let even sweetness go. Fall as you would fall onto a friend's shoulder. Be caught, be cradled. Be gone into the good dark, where the body repairs and the mind unknots, and the heart remembers the original pulse that never needed your effort, only your permission to keep you safe. Sleep. Tonight you built a simple sanctuary and walked it gently, a room dimmed to kindness, a body unarmored, a breath you could trust, a mantra that carried you, an ear that learned to include the world, a heart that met worry without exile, a field of compassion widening from self to all beings, a soft release of what was too heavy, and a handful of intentions planted for dawn. None of it was dramatic, all of it was real. This is the quiet craft of Niyam Fat at bedtime. Not escape, but a tender returning, again and again, until returning becomes home. If sleep met you on the way, wonderful. If you simply rested more deeply than usual, that too is healing. As you ease toward the last edges of wakefulness, let one more thought be gratitude for breath, for this body that keeps showing up, for teachers seen and unseen, for the chance to begin again each night. When morning comes, carry one small thread from this practice into your day, a longer exhale before you speak, a softer jaw when you read the news, a brief look at the sky as you step outside, a single kind sentence offered where it matters. If you'd like a faithful companion for this nightly ritual, subscribe to Buddhism for Sleep so these practices find you without effort. Tap the bell to receive gentle reminders like a temple chime in your pocket. Leave a comment with a phrase that helped you tonight, or a wish you're planting for tomorrow. Your words may be the lantern someone else needs. Share this session with a friend who lies awake rehearsing storms. Save it to a bedtime playlist so your body learns the rhythm of return. If you want more, explore the library, breath-led evenings, mantra meditations, loving-kindness journeys, quiet soundscapes that teach the nervous system to stand down. This channel is your soft corridor back to ease, built with care, humility, and the belief that rest is not a luxury. It is a birthright that makes us kinder to one another. For now, keep only what fits in your hands: breath, warmth, permission. Let the rest sit in the bowl outside the door until dawn. May your night be sheltered and your dreams unknotted. May the calm you grew here spill gently into the lives you touch tomorrow. Thank you for practicing. When you are ready, close your eyes the way a book closes after a favorite chapter, knowing you can open to this page anytime. Good night, dear one.